Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and the other day I posted this up on my blog about an impulse buy that I made on a bunch of old Nintendo stuff. There is a estate auction website that has a lot of local estate auctions near me, and every once in a while one of these lots comes up and they email me, and I can't resist. And actually this time I really couldn't resist because I really wanted an original Game Boy box to put in the set behind me here. And I put in a bid, totally forgot about it, and what do you know, I ended up winning the lot. And it was more than just the box. There's a Game Boy in here, which we're going to look at in a minute. There was a bunch of Gameboy games and a whole bunch of NES game manuals, all in really good condition. So what I thought I would do is step through all the stuff that I won in this auction. I actually think I ended up ahead of the game on what I paid versus the value of everything. And if there's anything you see here beyond the box and a few of the things that I'll point out as we work our way through the video today that you're interested in, leave me an email at lon@lon.tv, make an offer on what you're looking for, and maybe I will sell those things to you because I'm probably going to sell off most of the lot that I acquired because, again, I was really just looking for the box here. So we're going to get into this in just a second, and I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, that I paid for all this stuff with my own funds, probably more than I should have. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what I got at this auction. All right, we're going to start off with a few of the doodads here that came with this. So this was kind of neat, and it looks like it is new, but not in the box. This is a Game Boy 4-player adapter. I didn't even remember this thing existing, but it looks as though it's never been used. It's still wrapped up in the plastic here, and this is what you would use to have a 4-way Game Boy session, but you would each need the game because the Game Boys didn't transfer games to each other, so that could be a very expensive proposition back in the day, but that was one of the things it came with. Oddly, it came with an RF adapter for the original NES, and at the auction site there was a boxed NES that looked beautiful, but I didn't want to get too much stuff, and that box was rather large, so I think this might have gone with that, and it ended up in this lot. I also got a bunch of games here. A couple of them, or most of them, are actually pretty common games. So of course we have Tetris, which was the pack-in title, and we got all of the original cases here too. We got Super Mario Land, another game that just about everybody bought. This was also a launch title. This game I already have. This is Paperboy, and I remember buying this back about 30 years ago at my local mall, and I love Paperboy, and it's a great port on the Game Boy. It is in black and white, of course. This is a game I didn't own. This is Super Scrabble, and it is exactly as its name implies. It is a Scrabble game. And then they had Baseball. This, I think, was also a launch title. I owned this at one point, and I don't remember what happened to it. I must have lent it to a friend and never got it back, but now I've got a copy again. This is F1 Race. I don't think I've played this game before, so we'll have to try this one out and see how it is. And then this one, I was pretty excited to get this one in the mix. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. And all these games are in really good shape. The labels look pretty good on them. It's coming up a little bit here on the corner, but looks like they were stored someplace without a lot of moisture, and it looks like they kept them in the case here. So these were all in really good shape. Next up are the NES manuals, and some of these are actually worth some money, I think, based on what I looked up online. A lot of them are just commons, but most of these manuals even are going for $5 a piece, and they're all in really good condition. This is for Anticipation on the NES. I never owned this game, but my sister, whenever we would go to the video store, would rent it. And I used to yell at her, like, why don't we just buy the game versus renting it every weekend? But that was, we'd each get a game, and that was what she rented. It was a word game that you would play on the NES. This is the original Legend of Zelda map. This one is not as in good a shape as some of the other manuals in the mix. It feels a little brittle, but this was one of the things that came packed in with the original Legend of Zelda game. It gave you a map of the overworld, as you can see. What a great game this was, one of my favorites. An LJN game, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Again, these were all just the instruction manuals. Maniac Mansion, this was a classic computer game. And again, all these manuals are just in perfect, pristine condition here. Let me flip this over because everything is upside down. This is a manual for Fall of the Foot Clan. So we have the game and the manual here, along with the Paperboy manual. We have the Tetris manual. Again, this was the pack-in game. Super Mario Land's manual. And all of these look great. They're not yellowed at all. They really feel brand new. It was like they looked at them once and put them away. Here is the manual for golf, which I did not get as part of the lot. Here's the Scrabble manual, F1 Race, a manual for the 4-player adapter, the baseball manual. Now, this is the manual for the Game Boy itself, and it looks like, at least on some of the auction sites, this is selling for like $50. So I don't know if it's worth that much, but I might put it out there just to see what it's worth. And it is in excellent condition here. And then here's all the NES stuff. We have a Tengen Pac-Man. I am pretty sure that this one was from the gray cartridge version, and the reason is that it has the Nintendo seal of quality. So remember, Tengen, which was owned by Atari, went rogue and they started making their own cartridges that bypassed the Nintendo copy protection, and there was a whole big lawsuit about it and everything else. So this one was an officially licensed Nintendo game, but they also had a version that was in one of the black cartridges that was not. This is GameTech's Jeopardy, again, just the manual of the all-new Junior Edition. Perfect pristine condition. This one is a little more beat up. You can see there's some folds on it. This is Castlevania II: Simon's Quest. Here is a manual for the original Legend of Zelda, also in great shape. And you can see they had a little comic book here. You know, what's interesting, they really tried to sell you on this game that you bought, and I think it's because it was such a different type of game than what had typically been on game consoles up until then. So there was a lot of, I think, effort to get you into it because it takes a while to figure it out and explore, and that's the whole point of the game. And I think they really wanted to get your imagination going so you wouldn't have buyer's remorse on it. I think it was really an effort on Nintendo's part to expand the types of games that people played here in the US. Here is a manual for Wheel of Fortune. Super Mario Bros. 2. This one's a little more beat up. Not too ragged, though. Looks like it's in pretty good shape. We have a manual for Double Dragon, also in excellent condition here. I owned this game briefly. I think I beat it in a weekend, and I ended up returning it to the store because I wasn't pleased having such an expensive game. I think it was like $50 at the time, completing it so quickly, so I returned it. I remember doing that. This is the manual for Super Mario Bros. 3, also in great shape. So I have this game. Actually, I have 2 copies of this game right now, but not the manual, so this looks great. And you get all the different moves here. Pretty cool. Here is a manual for Legend of Zelda 2. Equally neat artwork inside of this one. Again, great condition. This is a manual for Solar Jetman, a game I don't think I've ever played before. And then we have a book for the NES version of Tetris. Cool stuff. All right, so now it's time for the main event, which is my Game Boy box here. And this was, again, the real reason I wanted to go after this lot. I've wanted a Game Boy box for a long time, and I was at one of the retro game conventions that they have in my home state of Connecticut. It's called Retro World Expo, and I saw one for sale. It must have been a complete in-box set, and it was more than I wanted to pay. But I was just really getting a real rush of nostalgia over this box because I was probably 13 years old when this came out, and it was so exciting to get this and open it up, and the box itself just made you excited to get at it. And one of the things about the Game Boy is that for its time, it was quite innovative because you had all these game cartridges that you could swap in and out and get an experience on the road very similar to an experience you'd have with a game console hooked up to a television. And at the time, the only alternative for portable gaming were those Tiger handhelds, which weren't all that great. And a friend of mine bought this literally the week it came out, or maybe the day it came out. He found this mail order place out in Washington State, and they FedExed it to him back in 1989. We were waiting at his house all day for the FedEx truck to show up, and then it appeared, and we were all excited to get at it. And what's great about these boxes is back then they really were selling the product more than game consoles do now, because now these things sit behind cages or they're ordered online. They don't need to market as much. But here you got a sense as to what games were coming out for it. You would see something similar on all of the television-based consoles also, like the NES and the Segas and everything as well. So you had a couple of the games that were launching with it. Over here you had some of the accessories you could buy. And I actually had both of these. This was a rechargeable battery that you could use also as a power adapter. And the Game Boy was pretty good on battery consumption, but it was a lot less expensive to operate with this rechargeable battery. especially because it would work as an AC adapter. And then here is the back of the box here. Look how pristine this is. It is a little crushed here at the top, not bad though, but the quality of the printing and the varnish coat on it, it almost looks like a recreation. It's so fresh looking. I was really, the picture looked great, but I was really surprised to see how good this looked when I picked it up. The Game Boy, however, is not in as good of a shape or as condition as the box is. This Game Boy was loved, and you can see already a part of it is loose there. So the adhesive on the display has come off. The Game Boy itself is a little dusty, and I haven't yet put batteries in it to see if it works. But the controls feel pretty good. I did check the battery compartment here, and there's no battery acid leaking, so it wasn't stored with batteries. So what I am going to do is plug in a few batteries now, and we'll see if this thing works. All right, so I got some of my rechargeable Eneloops in here. We're going to close up the battery compartment and hold our screen together. And I guess I'll put in Super Mario Land. This was actually the first game that I played on my Game Boy when I got my own. I got mine a few months after my friend did for a birthday present. And it looks like it's working, but like many of these Game Boys, and I'll turn up the contrast here so you can see, they develop these lines on the screen, as you can see. And so I think what I'm going to do with this one, let's just see if it works here. Yeah, it seems to be working fine. I think what I'm going to do with this one is actually replace the screen. They've got some really cool modern displays that are backlit that you can put inside the original hardware. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this one. But it is in better condition than I expected because a lot of these Game Boys just don't hold up well over time. But this one, speaker works. The display, you know, has its lines, but still very playable here. So good stuff. And I think I did okay on this lot. I would love to hear from you about the value of this. So I bid $185 for the set. And then, of course, they have sales tax and a buyer's premium, so I ended up paying over $200 here. But by my count, I think if I factor in the box value, the Game Boy, the manuals, all the stuff, I think I'm over $300 in value if I were to sell all this stuff back out individually. So let me know how I did in the comment section below, because I do hope to recover some of the cost here because, again, my mission was the box. And the Game Boy here was a nice bonus because I am going to modify this, and that will be a future video. So if you also have some suggestions on a good display to swap into this one, I'd love to hear that as well. So just a fun little video here just to show you what I picked up over the weekend. I like to do these every once in a while, and I look forward to hearing from all of you in the comments section about my haul. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold-level supporters Jim Tanis and Tom Albrecht, Hot Sauce and Video Games and Eric's Variety Channel, Brian Parker and Frank Goldman, Amda Brown and Matt Zagaya, and Chris Allegretta. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.